We went through the 5 phases of a transaction: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, closed. We talked about stages in between those. And then we also talked a good amount about creating an opportunity, the details of an opportunity, putting in the information that you need to track different appointments times and all that, and looking through all these different tabs as well and going through each of those. So we went through all that on Monday. And so that video will be out tomorrow if you want to catch it. You don't necessarily need to watch it to understand what's going on today, but it is very helpful. And so today we're going to be talking more in depth around the opportunities, and actually going in and talking about the checklist items and how you can use the checklist items to really solidify the system that is your business. And that's what I really love about these, is that it forces you to put down all the different things you do to get somebody from this cultivate stage down to the close stage, moving everybody from one phase to the next, one stage to the next in between. And so one of the documents that I want to share with you guys, and since you guys are on here, I'm going to just share it in the chat, and you guys let me know if it doesn't come up. But there's a great whole list of checklist items that I love sending to people. And this one has buyer and checklists, or buyer and seller checklists in here for you guys to look at. And these are a great place to start. I can't say that these are, perfect drag and drops for every person's business, just because everybody's business is different. And this is a great place, though, to check out and see if you're on the right track, or to get ideas and to expand from here. And so hopefully you guys can see that in the chat, and you can download it yourself as well, hopefully. Got it right on, Cheryl. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. And so that'll get you guys started. But how do you actually enter it into Command is actually what we're going to be talking about today. And so you have to be a little bit careful when you're inputting these, because you want to make sure you're doing it in the right place. If you come into Command and you just click on the checklist item right here, if it says 0 of 5 or 0 of 0, whatever you have in there, and if you start adding to this screen, well, that's only going to change it for Boo Lookie's opportunity. It won't default to all the opportunities in this stage. If we want to change the default checklist, we actually go up here and we click Edit Stages. And so that's the same if you're in appointment, active, any of these, is whichever one you want to change, you go into that phase. And then if we wanted to change the checklist items for scheduling, let's say, we're going to come up here and hit Edit Stages. And then now these checklist items that are loading up now, these are your default items that every opportunity will show up with these checklist items already there. And so let's take a look and see what I have in there now for my checklist items for scheduling. So really basic: schedule appointment with lender, schedule buyer presentation, prepare buyer contracts and advisories. These are 4 really basic things that or 3 basic things that you need to do when you're setting someone up. You might do the lender part at a different time. It doesn't have to be the way that I set it up. That's the beauty of this. In here, we can simply just add them in. We click on Add. You see this pops up, and we just type in anything else that we might want to do. Scheduling. Let's see, what else am I in there doing when I'm scheduling an appointment? We could also do send client KW app. And I can also set this task by default as a client update. So it updates the client whenever we check off one of these boxes. And we'll talk a little bit more about the updates in just a moment. And so I can hit save, and it's as simple as that. Maybe I don't want that to happen after these. If I want it to show up higher in the list, I can move these around and have that set up right at the beginning. If I'd like, I can check off the client update here as well. I don't have to do it when I'm setting up the checklist item. You can see when the client update is on, it has that little email icon right there to tell you that, hey, this is being sent to your client as an update. And like I said, we'll go into that in a little bit when we talk about the default update or client update system. But then from there, you just hit save. It's as simple as that. We see we have 0 of 4 now instead of 0 of 3. We can go back in here, and One cool thing that they, oh, I don't have any in there. One cool thing they just inputted recently is it used to be only for new opportunities, that if you made a change to your checklist items, it would only change the opportunities that were, made after that. And now it actually works backwards. You can see this one came right in here. It updated with 0 of 4. Even if there's ones in that stage, it will still update those as well and add those 4 default items or however many default items you put in there. Now, the difference that you see on this screen is now I can actually set a due date for these. If you're on a team, you'll see this assign option as well. Or if you're a rainmaker or somebody who has those permissions, you'll be able to assign these to your assistant. You can assign opportunities, checklist items to other team members. Lots of different ways to utilize that when your businesses are at those points. But the set due date is the number one thing that you'll do in here. So right now, there's no automatic way to have due dates set inside of opportunities. I think this will change this year, but I don't know when. So you do have to come in here and set the due dates yourself. You can see the due dates have a time associated with them. It will default to the time that it is currently at when you click on this. But then you can set a due date for any of these. Now, a little side note on these opportunity checklists is when you go into tasks, you're going to see by default your contact tasks in here. And you can see there's all these different contact tasks that show up. And these are where the smart plans drop in tasks. This is where if you make a task for a content or a contact, it will show up on this list. Now, the ones that we're making, these checklist items, and if we set due dates, those don't show up on the contact list, but the opportunity task list. So here we can see, here's our opportunity task list to take care of what we need to take care of inside of opportunities. So you need to check both when you're working in Command and using these checklist items, because they only show up on this side of the tasks tab and not in the contact tasks. So just a little side note there. All right, we can set due dates. Of course, we can come in here and edit this if we need to, edit what it says in here. Again, this is only changing it though for Boolooky's opportunity. And that's really helpful to have. Sometimes you need to add extra items in certain steps that may not necessarily be default information or defaulted for everyone, but in a special case, you might need to add in an extra task or two for a client. And you can still do that here. If I add an item to this screen, we can see we're just in the checklist for Boolooky, not in the default. And so from in here, let's see. I don't think there's anything else I need to show you guys. We can view the opportunity details from that screen. And of course, we're just looking at the same stuff we went over on Monday there. There's nothing really you have to do in here when the actual details, when you're setting up checklist items and doing that stuff. You don't really need to be inside of here. If you're curious about the use of that, like I said, the video should be out tomorrow, actually, for the class from Monday. And so you guys will check that out there. Let's see here. So we were in appointment. We talked about here. And so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the document that I sent you guys. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. That's security and privacy. There it is. All right. And so in here, we can see if we wanted to look and see what they had in here for, oh, gosh, silly computer.
Stephen, what is that an acronym for?
The SSHT?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's the team that created it in Keller.
Okay.
Yeah, because this was an agent creation from another team outside of even Colorado. I think this actually came from Texas. Okay. And so the SSHT, I believe, is just their team name or their abbreviation for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good question. I wondered the same thing. All right. This doesn't want to open this way. But we can see in here We can scroll down. Nope, it's not going to let me. That's okay. We don't need to talk about that too much. But in here, you can go in and start with the stages that are on that document. You guys have it now. And like I said, you don't have to make it exactly the same as theirs. I'll also tell you when I first, was doing this for myself, I started in a Excel spreadsheet to write out all these different pieces here that I have in my personal account. You don't see it so much on the side of the Tech Ambassador one, but inside my personal, I just made a cultivate section and listed all the different checklist items I wanted to do, and then the appointment. And I just went through and did all of that for each one of these different stages and what I wanted to do for those. So let's see here. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys next. And so we talked about the stages, checklist items, very simple to add, to update, default to individual, really simple to use. But now let's talk about client updates, which client updates will actually start off in settings for this one. So we'll go in, click on your name, and then click on settings. And then we're going to come over to the left side and we'll click on the command settings option, and then the opportunity settings below that. And you can see there are a few different things that you're going to see in here. If you're not on a team, you're not going to see team permissions, but you should see the rest of them. So if you ever need to check your opportunity archive, you can have them in here and restore them if necessary. You cannot delete them permanently from here. It will always stay in here as an opportunity, but you can bring them back so they actually show up on your pipeline instead of in here where they're just kind of hidden in the background. Opportunity tags. We talked about tags on Monday a little bit. These are super helpful and useful to have for especially like year end, trying to figure out where did your business come from. I don't use a ton of different tags, but I definitely tag every single opportunity that I create for myself. And so this is where you can come in, create new tags. You can edit the tags that you have if you want to change the name of it. You can delete tags from here as well. Our design template, this is not really functioning right now, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with this, but time will tell. But the one that we're looking for is at the top, the client update. And so the client update email, what it basically does is in a 24-hour period, it's going to check and see what different tasks did you check off. And if that task has that little client update email icon, that little envelope icon next to it, if you check that task off in a day, it will send a list of everything that got done for that client to them in a quick email. Now, what this screen is doing here is it's setting the default time that that email will go out. So again, this is the default one. It will always start here for the time that we set on this one. We can change it for specific opportunities. Say this person, works at 8 o'clock every night and they're like, actually, can you email me in the morning? And I can switch it for that opportunity and keep my defaults the same. So we can also choose who we're sending it from. If you're on a team, the owner, the rainmaker is your option. If you're not on a team, you're just going to see no option there. And then this is an important one. Who are you sending it to? The client and the co-client, or just the primary client on the opportunity? You can choose there. And then you can also send it off to, like I said, your assignees on your team. If you have an assistant or anything like that, or when you get those, you can send them out. Now, at some point, we're going to be able to choose the email templates that send these out. But right now, it just looks like this one here, where you can see it's going to put your name and information up here in the top corner. It's going to put the Keller Williams downtown logo there, and type out this little bit. If it's a listing and it has an address, I will put the address in there. If they are under contract and it has an address as a buyer, it'll put it in there. But if they're not under contract, or if they're buying a home, they don't have an address in there, that's okay. It just won't put that in. And then you can see it's as simple as just it lists out whatever you call that checklist item, or whatever you write in the checklist item inside of opportunities. It's just going to list them out 1, 2, 3, or however many there are for that day. It'll list them out right here. It finishes up with your picture and info, your download my app button, which it automatically, I did not want it to go there, but it will automatically work for you and set up all this for you. You don't have to do anything except for, have the back end of this set up, which is your marketing profile. So really simple to set the defaults. Now let's jump back into opportunities. And let me show you guys how to do it, because these client updates are actually turned off by default. They do not go out unless you tell it to for that specific opportunity. And so if we wanted to come in here and we Looky Bros investment property, we have this one in here, and we want to, maybe we want to set up our client updates for this specific opportunity. So you click on the opportunity and go into the details, and in the top right, you're going to see a button that says client updates. When I click on this, you'll see a screen that looks very similar to the one we were just on in settings. But now instead of being for the default for all opportunities, which you can see this matches exactly what we set up in there, except it has now the actual people on the list that I can choose from. And it's all grayed out right now because, like I said, it is turned off by default. Every opportunity is turned off. So you have to come in here if you'd like to use these. You come in and just turn on the client updates just by clicking that little toggle switch. You can see now I can decide if I want to send it to Rue, send it to myself. I can come in here if they have a secondary email in there you'd rather send it to. That's what these are there for. So you can choose different emails. You can add a contact if there's somebody that let's send it over to Hugh as well. Well, where's Hugh? Oh, we'll send it over to New Looky. And then of course we can change it for them. There we go. So I can put that in, and again, this just changes it for this opportunity, but you can even add in people who aren't like on the contract, but maybe want to get the updates. And you can change the template when they will be available to change. You will be able to change them specifically to the opportunity that makes sense for it. And so of course I can change the time here specific. I can change who it's sending from. You can send it from an assignee as a rainmaker so that it comes from one of your agent's emails instead of yours, or you can send it from the rainmaker. Lots of different options here, but really simple to set up, really, really nice and easy. And it is a great addition to your business, especially on the listing side, where you can go in and show a seller all the work that you do, or show a buyer all the work that you do when you're checking this stuff off, letting them know that you're working for them at all times, even when you're not standing in front of them or right there. All right. All right, so at this point, I mean, that's basically these two pieces that they will take a lot of time to set up. They take some investment in getting the checklist items in there, but once you get them in there and you have a system, you'll start adjusting them and figuring out what you use, what you don't use, maybe from the list or from other lists that you get with other agents. But it is such a great part of Command. I hope that you guys take the time to go in there and build out your own checklist items. Like I said, on my own business, this is where I set up my personal ones here. And you can see all of them have items that just help me run my business, helps me not let anything fall through the cracks for the different things that I do. I don't do a ton of under contract stuff personally, just because I have a TC that does it for me. And so they handle this part, and I don't set too many in here, but I still have deadlines in here set, so I get reminded of them happening. Sorry, my dog is acting goofy. What are you doing? You want to come say hi? Come on. Yeah. All right. So with that said, are there any questions that you guys have about opportunities or how to do anything in here, how to set up any opportunities or details or anything like that? What kind of questions do you all have?
I don't know if you just covered this. I apologize. I had someone just walk into the room. I was just wondering, like, when is it a good idea to actually set those specific items as client update items? Like, which items are important for that? Because it seems like a lot on the checklist are mostly just for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is 100% up to your discretion. I write ones that are meant to be sent. So I'll have myself get a little, task that will be to do something. but then I'll write a separate one that makes sense that I would want the client to like read it as if a client was reading it, not me, the agent, reading.
Okay.
And so, but it's up to you, when it's like on the listing side, it's trying to just show them all the stuff that you do anyway, right? Scheduling staging, scheduling pre-inspection, having those confirmed, like confirmed this, scheduling this, like those little things of, basic stuff like that for meetings of, hey, we confirmed this meeting with you today, or we scheduled this meeting with you today. Those little things I think are great client updates. When you go
Okay.
under contract, that's really where they get going, right? When all the little things are happening and you can check off all the stuff that you're doing with the inspection, with the different contracts, with the disclosures, all that stuff you can check off, and they can get that nice list and see all the stuff that was done for them today. Even though, yes, they signed those papers and did all that, it's still, you can show them all the work that you've done, that they've been working hard on. And it's, it just keeps a good record for them and for you. But 100% your discretion.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Great question. David, do you have anything for us? Any questions?
Not really. I'm good for now.
Right on, guys. Well, this one was actually a little bit shorter of a class then, and we had a little less people than I expected. And so that's all I had for you guys today. I'm happy to take any other questions. If you guys have any like burning questions about Command outside of opportunities, I'm happy to take those, or happy to have you guys end your Wednesday afternoon training a little early. Up to you guys.
I'm all set for now, so thanks so much.
Great. Thank you for coming, David. I appreciate you being here. Cheryl, are you good too?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Right on. Oh, perfect timing. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.